Okay, we have been talking a lot about barriers, those things that separate us from the love of God. And now we'd like to welcome back Mike Yaconelli. And Mike is going to help us walk beyond those barriers so that we can develop a closer relationship with Christ.
Wow, I've been sitting here, I guess it's just because I'm old. I just look out at your beautiful faces, how lucky I am to be with you, how much of your life you have to live. I've been doing this 42 years now, and I've seen a lot of casualties, a lot of kids like you who, for whatever reason, don't make it. And I just want you to know what an honor it is for me to be with you and to be able to keep doing this, and for the gift that you are to me. I have 5 kids of my own. It hasn't been that hard because they're all in foster homes, but I'm just kidding, but they haven't all, they're not all where they need to be. It's really hard to come and to talk to you and realize that some of my own kids are still struggling with their faith and trying to figure out if this thing is for real or if it isn't. And it's a tough world out there. And I just want you to know how glad I am and grateful I am for this opportunity. I'm Italian, so I get emotional, so you'll have to forgive me for losing it for a second here. I come from an Italian family, which would make it, that'd be the reason I'm Italian. And my dad was the old country Italian. He's kind of the guy, the rule, the way it is. And when I was about 9 years old, I had a bedtime and all that kind of stuff. And I had a friend over for the weekend, and we had to go to bed at like 9 o'clock at night, even though it was the weekend. And so, but we got into the room, and I don't know if you ever did this, but we decided that night we were going to make my room like this amazing, spooky place. So we took all these blankets and we ripped them off the bed, and we covered the bed so that they went down the floor. We got a bunch of chairs out. We moved them all around. We made little trails and stuff. And our deal was that we were going to sleep under the bed for the night. And we were going to sneak around and go through all these little deals and finally get underneath the bed and just lay there and go to sleep. And we're going to, make up this story about all this kind of stuff. And so we did that. We got underneath the bed. And it's kind of the way life is. You think it's going to be so cool to sleep under a bed until you get under there. It's like dirty, and the bed's kind of sagging on your face, and it's like you're under there going, well, this was the stupidest idea I've ever had in my life. And so you get restless, and you're a little kid, and you're wiggling around, and you can't stay there much longer. And so finally we decide, okay, it's pitch dark. We're going to get out from under this bed. And so we kind of crawled out from under the bed, and we started, wandering around. And we ended up on top of the bed, both of us, and we suddenly decided, you know what? In order to deliver us from the curse of this room, we have to touch the ceiling. And so we realized we were too short to touch the ceiling, so there was only one thing to do, and that was bounce on the bed. So we got on that bed and we started bouncing. And then when you're 9, you don't realize it, but you suddenly learn the law of physics that if you jump just at the right time when the other person is just getting ready to jump, it actually propels them higher. And then if they come down and bam, they kind of push you up. And so we're both just jumping on the bed, going for it, touching the ceiling, and we start getting out of control. We're just, whoa, we're doing this and that. And I'll never forget it. I forgot that my parents were still in the house. And I will never forget it, man. That door went flinging open. And my dad was standing there. I couldn't even see him. It was like this light behind him. And it was this big, black, scary thing. And I'll never forget, my dad opens the door and he goes, "What are you doing?" Don't your parents ask you the stupidest questions? It's like, We're bouncing, praying. That's what we're doing. And he told us to get back in that bed, and I remember we just laid down, we went to sleep, that was the end of it. And you know, my dad's a good dad, he's still alive. He and I get together about every week and a half and talk, and he's a great guy. But I want to tell you something, I started looking back at that, and I remembered something. From that moment on, I never bounced on my bed again. Now, if you can't bounce on your bed at 9, when can you? And I realized that all of a sudden, that my dad, although he was trying to keep the noise down and keep us quiet and everything, that was my whole view of God. Was that every time I was going to have a little bit of fun, God would go, "What are you doing?" And I would go, I had no clue because I thought that was what God was all about. I got a friend of mine, and he's got, he had a little 4-year-old daughter, and he was a writer, and those of you that have brothers and sisters, by the way, how many of you are the firstborn in your family? You were the first kid born. I want to apologize right now for your parents. Because when you are the first kid, you get it in the shorts. Your parents have never had a kid before, so they got the little book out on what they're supposed to do. They've watched all the videos. They're looking at you, and you're 8.5 months along, and you aren't walking, and the book says you're supposed to be walking, so what are they doing? Walk! They're comparing you to other kids. They're pressuring you all the time. They're making everything a issue. After you've had 3 or 4 kids in your family, it's a whole different deal. Your kid walks in, you go, "You're walking." He goes, "Dad, I'm 8. Everything changes. And the pressure on some of us in this group, when you're the first kid, straight A's, you've got to do well, and that kind of thing. And in my family, believe me, if I just had my first son, Mark, I'd be doing parent seminars right now. Straight A's in high school, straight A's in college, student body president of both places. He's a youth worker. I mean, all right. But I didn't just have him. And my second son wanted to make sure there was never any confusion between him and his older brother. He breezed through high school with a 1.7 average. He finally got his degree in college and called me on the phone, and he was a teacher, a really good teacher. Called me on the phone and said, "Dad, I've decided what I'm going to do with my life." I said, "What's that?" He says, "I'm going to be in a band." He's now in a band right now, trying to make it. Thinking to myself, of course, this is great. This is when you want to be. Now, you don't want to wait till you're 60 and go, "I wish I'd been in a band." Well, it's too late. The reality is that each one of my kids is different. Them is unique. And I began to think that God was kind of like that when you're the first, constantly putting the pressure on you. And when I come to these conferences and I hear people talking about and about how we're to follow him and we're to get rid of all our bondage and baggage and everything, it just reminds me. And this friend of mine had this 4-year-old kid. And I don't know, this new parenting thing that they're doing nowadays, but you know what it's like when you put a little 4-year-old to bed at night. You have this little dance you do. All right, time to go to bed. Get in that bed. "I have to go to the bathroom." All right, you go to the bathroom, then get back in the bed and get in there. Okay. "I'm cold." "Just a minute, let me get you a blanket." "Okay, that's it. We're not doing anymore." "It's too hot." "Okay, I'll open up the window." "I'm thirsty." "There's a drink." "I have to go to the bathroom again." And finally, as a parent, you go, "That is it. No more, no move. I don't care what's going to happen. You're staying in bed." That's what this dad did. He left his 4-year-old daughter and he went upstairs. Her name was Laura. And he was up there for about 2.5 hours. He was writing. And when you're a parent, you'll know what this is like. But he said, "I was up there in my study writing, and I realized that my daughter was in the room. She hadn't made any noise. There was no shadow. But I could just tell my daughter was standing right behind me looking at me." And he said, "I just tried to ignore her, but I finally couldn't ignore her. And I turned around and I said, 'What do you want now, Laura?' And she walked over to him, reached out and grabbed his hand and said, 'Nothing, Daddy. I just want to be next to you.'" I thought to myself, how come nobody told me God was like that? I always thought that God was like somewhere, not near me, and that my job in life was to hurry up and find him, and that if I didn't find him by the time I died, if somehow I lost him in the crowd, it's all over. If he got mad at me while I was still alive, he would do mean things like dissolve the hair in the middle of his head. I mean, it was stuff that he... I was totally afraid of God. It never occurred to me that this God that you and I everybody's been telling us, we need to break this bondage and we need to get close to God and build this relationship. Do you realize that whether you chase God or not, he's chasing you? You can't get rid of him. And that's the thing that bugs me, to be honest with you. There are times in my life when I wish Jesus would leave me alone. When my daughter got cancer at 18 months old, there were times where I said, God, I don't want to talk to you. I don't care about you. I'm not interested in you. I'm not praying to you. I'm not doing anything. Look what's happened to me. Forget it. It's like God is like your little brother or little sister. Let go of my shirt. Okay. I said, let go of the shirt. Okay. Get out of here. All right. Get out of here. There are moments in my life when I feel like I don't want God around. I don't have anything to do with him. I'm not thinking about God. I'm not having anything. And God's like, okay, I'm gone. Bye-bye. But he's not gone. He hasn't left. He's right there. And I want to tell you something. Your life's ruined. Your history. You may run away from God all you want. You can turn your back on God all you want. God's right there going, hi. How you doing? Leave me alone. Okay. He's not going to do it. He's not going to leave you alone. He's going to chase you. He's going to follow. In fact, there's a great story in the Bible. I love the Bible. Don't you love the Bible? Okay. All right, you're not being honest. Because I wasn't. I mean, I love it. I sort of like it. Well, sometimes I don't like it at all. What I really like about it is that whoever wrote it, I mean, this is why I think it's so true, is because they left stuff in there I wish they wouldn't have left in there. I mean, there's all kinds of stuff. I know you guys have got it all memorized by heart, but there's stuff in there I go, golly, why did you leave that there? That just makes it so hard. When people ask you stuff about it, you know, there's a prophet in the Old Testament, a bunch of little kids were making fun of him because he was bald, so he sent out a bear and the bear killed him. What kind of a story's that? Actually, I kind of like it. But I mean, what is that? See, what you don't realize is what I love about the Bible, why it is so true, is because it leaves everything in there, even the stuff that your church has edited out. Remember when you were a little kid? How many of you, I know all of you heard the story of Noah. Noah was the man who trusted God, who believed in God. Nobody else did. And for 100 years he built this boat in the desert, and he was God's man, God's person. And finally the rains came, and he gets on the boat with two of the animal, every kind of animal. And there are 40 days and 40 nights, and he's believing God, and the little bird comes by with a twig, and now they're on the ground again, and Noah gets off the boat and gets drunk and gets naked. And I hope you didn't see that on your flannel graph. Now, I'm telling you right now, I went to Sunday school all my life. Nobody told me that Noah got drunk and got naked. A bunch of you guys that never read the Bible are going, where is that? I want to... The reality is that in fact he did. And when I read that story, I go, well, thank you for telling me the truth. Because I realize if I'd been on the boat for 40 days and 40 nights with a bunch of animals, I'd have thought seriously about it myself. The fact of the matter is that you and I live in a culture where, yes, they're trying to entice us to sin and all that, but they're enticing you to do something a lot more than that. And that is, as I said last night, to lose your life, to give it up to something that will kill you. There's a wonderful little book called Between the Dreaming and the Coming True. Of course, all the wonderful books are out of print. And the author of that book, based on our poem where two lovers were saying goodbye to each other, and the one lover looked at the other one and said, I would rather we would have died that day than to have found ourselves left here, lost somewhere between the dreaming and the coming true. My God. That describes most of the people in this culture, between the dreaming and the coming true. Our marriage was going to be this wonderful thing, and we're stuck somewhere between the dreaming and the coming true. My life was going to be this amazing, and I'm stuck somewhere between the dreaming and the coming true. And Jesus Christ is the one who comes along and says, excuse me, I'm the dreamer. I'm the one who dreamed your life. I'm the one who gave you all of your gifts. I'm the one who made you the way you are. And I don't want you to be stuck somewhere between the dreaming and the coming true. I want you to experience the dream. This Jesus Christ, this God is not kidding when he says that he is dreaming this life for you and me. And I want to tell you something. This culture is full of dream stealers. Dream stealers are the people who tell you what you can't do. They're always running around going, no, you can't. Don't do. No. You might get hurt. You might fall. You might break something. Those are dream stealers. You and I have all had teachers like that. We've got a culture like that. Oh, you're not slim and trim and good luck. You're out of here. I mean, this culture tells every one of us in this room, you're ugly. Unless you've got this amazing, slim, unbelievable body. Unless you're a guy and you've got this incredible hunk, total, into that. Well, look around the room. We're all in trouble. Everywhere you look, this culture is telling you what you're doing wrong. It's not just the church. It's the culture, too. I mean, like sex, for example. There's a couple of you going to sleep, so I just brought that in. Look, I want to tell you something. This sex thing is so weird. I mean, it's like when I was a kid, I know it was a long time ago. We were out there. Did you see that little Coke truck out there, that old ancient Model T Coke truck? I'm walking by there last night, and this kid goes, oh, you had cars like that, right, when you were a kid? That kid's going to hell. That's all I got to say right now. There was a kid. His dad was a trainer for horses, and he traveled all around the country. And as a result, his son, traveled with him. And he was going to learn how to be a horse trainer too. And because of that, he had to change high schools 2 or 3 times a year. And because of that, he was now 19 years of age and still hadn't graduated. He was barely above a C, and he was in his final year of school and in his English class. And the English teacher said, here's your final assignment. I want you to write an essay on your dream for the rest of your life. And she said, just write whatever your dream is about what you want to be, what you want life to become, whatever it may be. So this kid, man, he took it on seriously. He wrote this big, thick paper. And his dream was this. He wanted to have a 4,000 square foot home on a 200-acre ranch with a training track with little stalls where he could train horses the rest of his life. He was so excited about this project that he went to his drafting class and he actually drew up the plans for the house and he actually laid out the 200 acres where everything would be. He put it all together and gave it to his teacher. A week later, he comes to class. They turn in all the papers except for his. Afterward, the teacher says, I need to see you. He goes in after class. She hands him the paper. Written on the top of it in big black letter is F. He said, F? Why am I getting an F? She said, I told you to write about a dream, but I meant a dream that was, real, that you had a possibility of making. You're barely passing high school. If I flunk you on this paper, you're not going to graduate. Now, if you'll go back and write a paper about a real dream that you can really reach, she said, I'll change your grade. He goes home. He throws the thing down. His dad, who had never even been to high school, walked in. He told his dad what had happened. His dad said, you know what, son? I'm going to trust you. You do whatever you have to do. The kid goes back the next day, places the paper down on the teacher's desk and says, ma'am, I've been thinking about this all night. You can have your F. I'm going to keep my dream. The reason we know about that is because he was giving that story in his 4,000 square foot home on his 200-acre ranch just south of San Diego. Jesus was walking along, and a bunch of people were behind him. Everybody wanted to follow him. You know, he'd get thousands of people following him until he started talking, telling them what this stuff meant. And there's all these people following him, and he finally turns around and he says, if you want to be a disciple, you're going to have to give up all your money, you're going to have to give up your home, not going to have a place to sleep, nobody's going to like you, it's going to cost you your family, the whole deal. And people are dropping off like flies. And Jesus turns around, and I can't prove this, but I think he turned around thinking, oh, please tell me Peter dropped off too. No, there's Peter, he's still there. And he looks at Peter, he gives him another chance. He says, Peter, can I ask you a question? Yeah. Are you going to leave me too? And Peter says this great thing. He says, well, where would I go? You know what Peter was saying? He was saying, look, I used to be a fisherman. My dad was a fisherman. His dad was a fisherman. We knew that lake like the back of our hands. I had a fishing boat. I paid for all my gear. My family was secure. Everything was going great. And then you showed up. And you walked in and said, come on, let's be fishers of men. So I did. The result is I've never seen my family. My fishing boat has gone all to heck. We're going to die. I think you're going to die. We're all going to be. And you think I'm going to go back to fishing? Not a chance. I'm here to tell you, this Jesus Christ, it may cost you. You may have to give up a whole lot of stuff. You may have to give up what the world says you have to give up. But I'm here to tell you, you give it to him. And don't you let the church tell you, but if you didn't do it right, if you're not 100%, if you don't have it all together, if you're not doing it just exactly the way you're supposed to do it, then it's no good. I felt like that the whole time I was growing up. I thought, oh, I'm not a very good Christian. I can't. Jesus is going to turn around and go, follow me. And I'm going to go, okay. And he's going to go, no, not you, the guy behind you. I've always felt like that. Well, I'm here to tell you that's a bunch of baloney. You give God whatever you can give him. Something is better than nothing. You give him what you have of your life. And this whole deal that if you don't give God 100%, you're not following him. You know what, folks? Nobody gives 100%. It's nonsense. You may be able to give 100%, 1/nth of a second when you cross that finish line. But most of us, like I'm a morning person, when I wake up in the morning, 40%. Yeah, I'm ready. My wife wakes up in the morning, it's noon. And when she wakes up, it's like she's 20%. You don't want to be around her. 10 o'clock in the evening, I mean, that's the way the day goes. And then I go to work and I'm 50% and I have lunch, and I'm 60%, then I'm sleepy because I'm old, so I have a little nap. Now I'm back down to 20%. Then Baywatch comes on at 5:30, I'm up to 80%. Look, I'm all over the place. And so are you. Every one of us is dancing all over. And by the way, for some of you, that's a spiritual gift. I'm so tired of going to Christian things where they say, give me a J, give me an E, give me an S, give me a U, give me an S. We're all happy, happy, happy. We love Jesus. That's not Jesus, that's drugs. I mean, I'm here to tell you that some of you are melancholy, some of you are moody, and that's a gift. Quit trying to fix it. When people say to you, you're moody, you go, thank you. I'm telling you, you're probably an artist, you're probably a dancer, you're probably a writer, you're probably a sculpturist, you're probably somebody like that, because that's the gift, that's the part of the gift you get. And I'll prove it to you. Remember when your girlfriend or your boyfriend broke up with you, and you're a giant big football player? I'm not quite done yet. Oh, okay. You were a big football player, and you came to your room, and your girlfriend just broke up with you. You slam the door in your bedroom, you go in, you don't talk to anybody, you turn on your song. Pull out a piece of paper and the music's playing, you start writing death, darkness. 4 and 5 syllable words you didn't even know you knew. The next morning you get up and you look at that paper and go, God, where did that come from? It came from that melancholy place in your life. Listen, don't let this culture tell you what you're not. You let Jesus say, look, you give me yourself, you give me 60%, you give me 40, you give me whatever it is. I'll take that and I'll transform it and make a difference in this world. Well, I got to finish. My time's up, and I want to end with a little story that my favorite story. You've probably heard it before, but I just love it. There was a guy by the name of Jan Paderewski who was a great pianist, and he actually was a politician in Europe. He came to the United States. He was a statesman over there, and he came to the United States to do a concert tour. And in New York, he was only going to play at one location one night, and the place was packed out. 4,000 people sold out way in advance. Everybody had tuxedos on, fancy dresses. And this one woman brought her 10-year-old son because he didn't want to play the piano anymore, and she thought if he could see a great pianist, that it might motivate him to keep playing the piano. He was 10 years old, and of course, she put a tuxedo on him. Now, even if you have a tuxedo on and you're 10, you're still 10. So, it's about 15 minutes into that thing. He's got his tie undone. He's got dirt stains all over his shirt. He's been to the bathroom 15 times. Part of his thing is hanging out. He's been driving everybody crazy. And finally, the mother grabs the little boy and sits him down in the chair like all mothers do and goes, "That is it. Don't move." He sits there like that. She gets to talking, totally ignoring. Pretty soon, he's kind of standing up. He notices that she doesn't notice. He starts walking down the aisle, stepping on people's shoes. People are getting bugged and irritated. He gets down at the end of the aisle, and somebody pushes his mother, and she turns around, and she sees him, and she flips out, and she goes, "Tommy, come here!" And he flips out. He runs to the end of the aisle, and instead of going to the right, which is out of the building, he goes to the left, which is right towards the stage. It's a dead end. When he gets up to the stage, there's nowhere to go. There's some steps going up to the top of the stage. He runs up the top of those steps. Now he's on the step. He sees a piano. He knows what a piano is. He runs over to the piano. He flips the top off this beautiful, expensive grand piano and begins to play chopsticks as fast as he can play them. Well, this is New York, and I don't know if you've ever been in New York, but sometimes they can be not very friendly. And all of a sudden, the audience just erupts. People are going, "Get that kid out of there. This is an outrage. He's ruining the piano. Where's security? Where's his mother?" And his mother's standing up going, "Yeah, where is she?" And Paderewski's in the back, and he hears all this noise, and he comes out of his dressing room, and he sees the little boy up there playing chopsticks. And he sees these two security guards running down the aisle, ready to jump up on the stairs and grab the little boy. And Paderewski quickly puts on his jacket, and he walks out to the edge of the stage. And just as the two security guards get there, he walks out onto the stage. And when he does, the whole audience, there's a collective, it could have heard a pin drop, except for the little boy playing chopsticks. Paderewski walks over behind him, leans over the kid's shoulder, and whispers in his ear, "Keep playing. Don't stop." And as the little boy plays his little chopsticks, Paderewski gets down on his knees, puts his arms around the little boy, and begins to play a concerto based on the tune of chopsticks. The whole time he says to the little boy, "Don't stop. Keep on playing. You're doing great. Don't you feel like that little boy? Yes, Jesus, I'll follow you." Dun, 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 dun. Everybody's going, "This is an outrage. Get that kid out of it. What's going on?" I hope this morning you felt the warm arms of God as he's put his arms around you and whispered in your ear, "Don't stop. Keep on playing. You're doing great. And one of these days you and I are going to be in heaven, and we're going to hear one heck of a concerto based on the tune of chopsticks while God has been playing his concert." God bless you. Thank you very much.
soul. He wants to bounce on the bed. Door opens, Big Daddy walks in. Go to sleep, that's what he said. But I dreamed about touching the ceiling. Nah, kid, ceiling's not for you. So put off your dreams and go back to bed. That's all that you can do. I dreamed I'd have a big ranch with horses everywhere. No, kid, you get an F on that paper, don't you see? You're just not there. But I dreamed about it all my life. Well, it's just too doggone bad. You'll get an F anyway. That stupid dream you had. I dreamed about going fishing, fishing for women and men. And I cannot leave you now, so help me once again. Peter, I won't leave you, you'll be by my side. You can dream your dream and we'll dream it together on this crazy roller coaster ride. I heard the piper playing, but I was tied to the trunk of the tree. Did anybody cut the rope? Let me go and set me free. Dream stealers, take away my dream. They tie me up in knots. Can anybody loose me, please? I'd like it quite a lot. Then comes the one who won't let go, who just won't go away. Sure, I'll cut those ropes if it's all right with you, and we'll go out and play. I'll play the pipe and you dance with me, all the streets and highways round, and we'll dream together, and I won't put you down. If you'll follow me, it will be alright. I'll be the one to tuck you in at night. And if you want to leave, I will guarantee you won't find anybody just like me. Well, if you follow me, it will be alright. I'll be the one to tuck you in at night. And if you want to leave, I can guarantee you won't find anybody just like me. So I'm dreamed I was in heaven. There was a piano there, and I could hear the music playing. So lovely and fair, and I looked on that piano bench. Can you imagine what I could see? I was sitting there like a little kid. Jesus was bending over me. He said, keep on playing, keep on playing. Don't give up, we'll make this concerto. Please keep playing, please keep playing. We'll make this concerto together. Oh, please keep playing, please keep playing. We'll make this concerto together. Please keep playing, 'cause I want follow me, it will be alright. I'll be the one to tuck you in at night. And if you want to leave, I can guarantee you won't find anybody quite like